Hello, everyone. Welcome to Take Solutions webinar on Business Objects Upgrade. We're asking you today, what's stopping you from upgrading to Business Objects 4? My name is Victor Samuel. I'm the presenter for the session, and I will take you through who's Take. Obviously, you would want to know who we are, and where is BI 4 now, and how do we get there? Very quickly, an introduction to myself. I've been around for 25 years in IT. Half of those years I spent in implementing large BI and data warehousing solutions to multiple global customers. I'm currently the Vice President at Take Solutions. I'm also the business head for the BI practice. Take is a specialization company. It provides IP-based solutions and services to a majority of its customers in multiple industries. Take is also a CMMI Level 5 company, assessed at Level 3 on the PCMM, and also an ISO 27001 organization. Take's BI practice has been there since its inception for around 11 years now. And if you notice, Take's acronym really reads like this. It's Technology Analytics for the Knowledge Enterprise. So if I have to mention this, I would say that Take's middle name is Analytics, and we've done quite a bit of work in predictive and advanced analytics, building data discovery and visualization solutions. Of course, BI, a lot of that BI in business objects, building large data warehouses, MDM, etc. I would also like to mention that we are certified migration specialists for business objects. So what's new in BI 4.0? I needn't be telling you a lot of this because I believe that Business Objects and SAP Business Objects has done a very good job announcing 4 and communicating on the various features, the new ones that are coming up, etc. But I just wanted to bring out this slide so you will again, go through what's coming up, and a couple of things that I wanted to highlight are these. You probably would already know that this is the first major release since the acquisition of Business Objects by SAP. Some of the highlights that I noticed, and I think it's key, is there are some branding changes. For example, SAP Business Objects Enterprise would now be called SAP Business Objects BI. Right. The all too familiar InfoView would be called the Launchpad, or BI Launchpad, in fact. Excelsius 2008 would be renamed as Business Objects Dashboards. Those are some of the things that are changing, not just from the branding perspective. This is also a much larger release, including multiple changes that some features and a lot more performance improvements in the newer platform. The one important thing that I noticed, which I think you should be familiar with, is the introduction of the information design tool, which leverages the data federator, enabling access across multiple sources. So that's what's new, and there's a lot more that you could read from the various resources available on the internet, on the SAP website, as well as on multiple forums. Some more information here. Where is BI 4 now? Since its launch, the product has been stabilizing. We have the support package 2 released. And we also hear from SAP that there's an impending release the feature pack 3. And what we understand from the various communications and information available to us is that the feature pack 3 is not just a minor release. It has multiple customer fixes, and it should be considered as an enhancement package. One point that we believe that we need to highlight here is the data connectivity to ECC, which is going to improve the way we use business objects over SAP considerably. Therefore, it's our opinion that BI4 is now, really stabilizing, and it's a great time to move. We recommend that if you're not already considering moving to 4, you should start looking at some of these aspects and look at moving over to 4. Okay, so again, this content is sourced from SAP. This is a typical approach to the upgrade. The upgrade path that is described here, you would notice that if you have to upgrade to BI4, you could do a direct upgrade from XI R2 or XI 3.x. But if you are on prior versions, versions that are older than R2, such as if you're on BusinessObjects 5, 6, or 6.x, you have to necessarily move into any one of these, either to R2 or to 3.x, before you move or upgrade to BI4. Okay. This slide, we tried tabulating some possible customer situations based on what we are hearing from some of our customers who are venturing into moving, as well as in the past, some customers who really, when they started moving from R2 to 3.x, we noticed some things, and we thought it's important that you consider what your situation is. Now, if you're on your reports, whether it's WebA or Devkey, are all in the repository, you're very lucky, because that's the easiest situation when it comes to upgrade. However, if you have many of your users having their own personal reports, either on a shared disk or on a local drive, you would find that it increases the complexity of the upgrade. Okay, so we recommend that you examine your current situation, document it before you consider moving. Whatever your situation is, our recommendation is that if you follow the right process, you would be able to do it very well. You would be able to be successful in the upgrade. Take is a certified migration specialist. We have people who've done multiple upgrades in the past, from different versions to certain other different versions. In the last couple of years, we've done at least about 30 to 40 migrations or upgrades or conversions. And what we believe is, and very clearly, there are 3 process steps that you need to take when it comes to upgrade. The first is assess. You have to do an assessment. You got to get ready with some preparation, and then you have to go and execute the upgrade. The first 2 steps, if we did it well, your execution is going to be eventless. Let's start looking at each of those steps. Step 1 is the assessment part. Now, depending on your situation, depending on whether you have all of your reports on your repository or on the local drive, whatever the situation is, you got to go and list down all of those reports. So taking an inventory of those reports is critical for you to start assessing the extent to which, how the upgrade process is going to be progressing. It will also help you in planning several other activities. So this is the first essential step. Once we have that data listed, you got to look at, you got to do some kind of an analysis where you should be looking at, how the reports are being used from a usage perspective. How many of those reports are likely to be similar, etc. You got to do some kind of an analysis. And the third step, and I think this is a very important step in this assessment process, is an upgrade actually it provides you an opportunity to look at a list of reports that you have, the multiple objects that are already there, and consider rationalizing. Now, I know of at least one organization which had roughly about 5,000 to 6,000 reports. And when they went through this assessment, which itself was a big step for them because they were a multi-location organization, multiple buildings in the same city, plus multiple cities and across the globe. They realized that this 5,000 to 6,000 is going to be a huge exercise when it comes to upgrade as well as conversion. So they wanted to rationalize it, and at the end of that rationalization exercise, they were able to reduce the reports to about 20% or less of the total number that they had in the inventory. Now, once we've done all this, what we now will have is a final content, or a final list of things that we need to do. So finalizing a content is an important step to complete during the assessment phase. But we also know some of these steps require huge manual work. For example, now if you're doing the reports inventory, and if you happen to have a large number of users having reports that are localized or even in shared drives, finding out what those reports are and how well they are used is going to be a tough job. If you deploy multiple people and manually collect this information, it is also prone to be having some data quality issues. Some errors could creep in. So over the years, has been working with customers and realizing that this particular task is time-consuming and labor-intensive. We have created an upgrade accelerator for business objects. There are two components that we would use from the upgrade accelerator during the assessment phase. One, to collect all of this data, which is the list of reports from different locations. That, in my opinion, the first step itself is a huge saving. Number one, both from a cost perspective as well as from a timeline perspective. Once you collected the data, we could also do an analysis of what we collected. I want to show you a quick screenshot of this application. The first screen, the first window up there is the one, the tool, the utility which collects the data. And the other one is a usage analysis, a typical analysis that we could do. There are multiple analyses that we could do using the upgrade accelerator. And also the two other lists that are appearing below these pictures are the list of reports. You could see in detail in what level we could find out the information. This tool can also tell you, what kind of SQL statements are there, when was it last executed, and stuff like that. There's a lot more that can be collected. All right. So this is one of the tools that I thought I should talk to you. Now, having collected all this information and after finalizing the content, now we get to prepare for the migration or the upgrade. Now, the critical first step, of course, is planning. You got to put together a project plan, resource plan, etc. But what is also important is to prepare the environment. Now, if you need to have the right kind of a hardware, a BI4 64-bit is the best thing that has happened with BI4. So you need to have the right kind of a hardware, the right kind of operating system. They should have the right patches, the right service packs and stuff like that installed, and they have to be tested and ready, available, ready for the upgrade. So once this is done, the next step, of course, is the one that we want to take a close look at. In the preparation phase, we've gone back to the upgrade path that we showed you in the earlier slides. The area that we would like to highlight there is this part, which is the box, the red box, around which we thought we should bring that to your focus. Now, this part is the manual part that we were talking about, which is going to be during the assessment phase. But during the prepare phase, if you have local reports, you wouldn't be able to migrate to 4 unless these local reports or the personal reports are moved to the repository, either R2 or 3.x. Now, there are two ways to do it. One is this regular way of manually opening it and saving it into the repository, or the other way is automating it. The Take Upgrade Accelerator will be able to do that without much fuss. Let me show you what this accelerator actually does. Here are some screenshots. We'll be very happy to show you a demo using your repository or your requirement if you contact us. But here are some example screenshots that we would like to share with you. This is an InfoView screenshot. Before we started off the moving of the personal reports into the repository. This is the Take Upgrade Accelerator publisher component, which all you have to do is to point to where these personal reports are and tell the utility what the target folder in the repository is. Once you do that and click on proceed, it runs for a while, of course, depending on the number of reports that need to be published. It runs for a while, and when it is complete, you will be able to see on the repository, like in this screenshot, we have those 3 reports coming up here. All of the reports that have moved into into the specific folder that you had mentioned in the utility. Now, this is, in our opinion, 2 things. One is, of course, it saves you time. 2 is it avoids duplication of effort. Plus, there are multiple benefits. While doing this, you will also be able to look at a log where, if in case there are a few reports that fail, there were errors in actually publishing it. It would list down all of those reports with the error details. In this case, we don't have errors, and therefore we're unable to show you what type of errors would occur. So the Upgrade Accelerator, as you just saw, helps you prepare in 2 of the steps. One is on the assessment step, and 2 is in the preparation step. Finally, once you're done with the assessment and then you got the preparation done, you could go ahead and execute. And execute is a straightforward process. You would use the Upgrade Manager for the upgrade. The Upgrade Manager is the BI4 version of the import to the manager. Conversion, again, it's the same report conversion tool with some modification, perhaps. Okay, so these are two parallel or two different tasks. The first you would upgrade it, and then you would convert. So on the upgrade, it's important that you list down all of the activities, sequence them appropriately. And the key to both of the activities, we would say, is the validation. Now, when you upgrade, and if you, once the upgrade is done through a process of the detailed steps that you would want to take on the upgrade, you should definitely go back and look at how the components have installed. Are they installed correctly? Is the security defined properly, etc. And all of the stuff that is required to do the testing is a critical step. During conversion, also, you already know that when you run the RCT or the report conversion tool, it would give you 3 statuses on what happened during the conversion process. One, which is the fully converted reports. 2 is the partially converted reports, and the third one, which is not converted. Now, our experience shows, and multiple experiments that we've done in our lab show, even though it says fully converted, there could be possible errors, say in formatting, or even in terms of how the data is presented. So for each of those steps, again, validation is key. If you want to avoid multiple help desk calls coming in from the users, we recommend that you look at validation as a critical piece in the execution phase. Once you've done that, congratulations, you could move over to the production and roll out. Okay, so that's typically what I wanted to talk to you about. And what I also want to point out here is it looks straightforward, but there are several things that if you don't take care of them in this process of both the upgrade as well as the convert, it could lead to multiple tries, and of course you would eventually succeed. In order to minimize the effort on the conversion and the upgrade, we recommend that you consider something similar to take, and we'll be very happy to work with you through our experience over the years, bring to your notice and give you some information on TAKE's capabilities in this area. Of course, like I said, we've done multiple migrations, upgrade, or conversions. But doing all this, what we've done is we set up what we call as the upgrade or conversion factory. There are people who've done such activities multiple times, and therefore they are trained to look for possible pitfalls and anticipate some problems based on experience and a very well documented knowledge base. Now, it is also important that because some of these steps are repetitive in nature, and when a validation happens, some other activities have to be done. There's a set of people who know for upgrade what type of validation needs to be done. There is also a set of people who know during the conversion process, whether it's fully converted, partially converted, or not converted, there are certain activities that need to be done. I encourage you to look at validation as a critical piece, and this team of people at TAKE are very well suited for multiple reports situation where you need some help. Okay, so that's so much from me, but I would like to summarize this way. We believe the SAP BusinessObjects BI4 is ready for prime time. We also believe an upgrade could be less painful if you have the right approach and the right tools to manage it. And we highly this upgrade with its templatized approach and upgrade accelerated tools and which can definitely reduce time by about 30% to 40%, and even reduce the cost by about 40 to 50%. We have classic examples of these from earlier customer engagements. And the key point, again, to stress is using Take's ExpressUPGRADE, helps enhance your delivery certainty. You could be sure that this upgrade, when we start and end, there is a close to 100% possibility that it will be successful on the first run. I pause there. I thank you for your attention and request you to send any questions directly to me if you choose to, if you want any clarifications from this presentation or any other questions around the BI4 upgrade process, to this email address, vsamuel@takesolutions.com. If you need any discussion with us, please sign up for a quick complimentary advisory session where our experts will be spending time with you to help you decide on the course of the upgrade itself. There is a contact number of David Dallas, my colleague, that you can call. You can call him and schedule an appointment, or write an email to him to schedule an appointment. Thank you one more time for your attention, and good luck.